What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cory Cast. This episode, I got to sit down and talk to Nick Sanford, who is the owner of Toss and Fire Pizza in North Syracuse. It was really cool sitting down and talking to him because you really got a sense of how genuine and passionate he is about his business, about pizza, about food trucks, and about the city of Syracuse. It was really cool hearing him talk about the food truck laws and how they're affecting him in the business. And he seems to have a major role in the food truck scene here in Syracuse. So much so that he is the founder of the Food Truck Association here. So Nick's doing a lot of cool things between that, running a really successful restaurant, and a lot of people that I told I was speaking to Nick all had the same few things to say about him. That Nick was a very kind person. He's a great boss to work for, and he's very genuine in his character. And that really showed through on the conversation. Oh, and people also said that he can make a hell of a pizza, but I feel like that goes without being said, right? So, without any further ado, here is my friend, Nick Sanford.
I'm a hand talker, so like I'm watching this video of me talking and I'm like,
Yeah, are you Italian?
I mean a little bit, like,
Yeah.
like a quarter Italian, but like
Portuguese people are like that too.
Yeah.
Like I start when I'm like trying to explain something, I start
just
moving my
I don't
hands
even
or moving
think
everywhere.
about it. Yeah, it just
right.
happens.
It just happens.
We did a Time Warner interview for the food truck thing too.
Yeah.
And they came and I watched the video and I'm literally like
It looked like you're a helicopter,
yeah,
like you're about to
it
take
was
off.
ridiculous. But whatever.
That's cool.
I noticed it. I don't know who else noticed it.
Yeah, right.
but
No, it just means that you got passion when you talk. That's all.
That's it,
You just
right?
put some emotion.
Yeah.
So Nick, you opened up Toss and Fire how long ago?
So the trucks, the first truck trailer we opened, it'll be 5 years in April. The restaurant has been here for 3.5 years.
Okay, that's cool. So what made you want to open up a pizza place? Because you were working Panera before, right?
Yep, so I was a manager with Panera. I transferred up here with Panera, and we bought a house and moved to the area and all that kind of stuff, right? So I just really liked, like, we're up in Brewerton. I really liked that, like, lake area.
Yeah.
And, like, just, I don't know, it's a cool vibe. And
Yeah.
like the area. I used to come up here and visit because my wife has family here.
Yeah.
So transferred with Panera. Really liked Panera when I lived in Connecticut. Really didn't like Panera as much when I moved to New York.
Yeah, right.
And kind of was like, man, I wonder if I could do my own thing, right? So I started to, when I lived in Connecticut, pizza trucks were like a huge thing. They were everywhere.
Really?
Like everywhere.
Oh, what part of Connecticut did you live in?
Milford, New Haven-ish
Okay.
area.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I lived in Milford. It was like on the coast of Connecticut.
Oh, that's cool.
And we had like all these famous pizzerias in New Haven.
Yeah.
But then like everybody had a pizza truck. Like it was this huge trend that probably started in Connecticut like 15 years ago at this point, because we've been around for 5.
Was it like every pizza shop had its own food
So like
truck?
a lot of pizza shops, like they wouldn't even do wood-fired pizza in their pizza shop, but they would have a wood-fire oven in a truck and do catering.
Right.
And they would just make like a very similar. So you could like take a wood-fire oven and like keep it at a really low temp, and it would cook just like a gas oven.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's what a lot of those places did.
Right.
But they had the cool, like, you know, it was still a wood-fire oven, and they would go and cater and grad parties and weddings and all this kind of stuff. So like I used to go to parties where they were at. There was a farmer's market like walking distance from my house where there was a pizza truck every week.
Oh, wow.
It was just like a regular thing that I thought was everywhere, right?
Right.
I wasn't, like, I never looked into it. I just thought, like, because I lived there, I was like, oh,
But
yeah.
it happens everywhere.
This is what we have, you know? So, like, pizza trucks were, like, way more dominant than, like, food trucks in general. Like, we had a lot of taco trucks and stuff like that. We basically had taco trucks and pizza trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, like, the scene of food trucks.
Yeah.
There. So, anyway, I moved up here, and I was working for Panera, and I don't even know how the original thought, like, came to me, but somehow I was like, there's no pizza trucks in Syracuse. Like,
yeah, right, there was nothing.
Maybe I was looking for one because I was, like, used to having them. I really don't remember how, like, I just know that information kind of came. I was like, there's not a pizza truck. Why is nobody doing this?
Right.
So I was like, well, I mean, that could be like a side job. Like I could like work at Panera and like start a pizza truck and see what happens and like, you know.
Did you do that for a while?
For like a month.
Oh,
and then
right.
I quit Panera. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did it. The thing is, we did it. We bought the trailer, and like, I know a lot of things about the restaurant. I knew things about the restaurant business. I thought I knew things about the restaurant business.
Yeah.
I never started a business. It was like such like a
Was that wicked scary for you?
Insane.
Yeah.
And we like our first daughter was on the way, and like it was just
man.
yeah. So it was crazy.
It was like you needed the perfect storm to kind of work everything out. And...
Or I was gonna have to get a new job basically.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and luckily, when I left Panera, the district manager was like, Nick, if you want to come back, if this doesn't work out,
yeah.
we'd love to have you back. So I kind of like had that in my back pocket, even
yeah.
though I was like, I don't want to go back. Like I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to go with my tail between my legs and be like, that failed. Okay, can I come back? But so I researched trailers. I spent about a year and researched trailers. I was like trying out recipes. I was making dough at home and cooking on this little like grill top thing that emulated a wood fire oven. But
I feel like there's got to be so many there's so much planning involved, especially with a restaurant.
There is, yeah. So I mean, the restaurant came later, so the truck was like my main focus at first. Right, we did 2 whole seasons with the truck before we stepped foot in this place.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So it was a year and a half, but like it was 2 full food truck seasons.
Yeah.
So by the end of the second food truck season, that's when this place came along. We found it. We were looking for like a commissary kitchen. Mm-hmm. We weren't even looking to open a restaurant. We were looking for a commissary kitchen to be able to like make our dough and toppings.
And that just means like an open kitchen
just
where
a
anybody
kitchen for me to rent, basically.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I was sharing space with the Recess Coffee guys. They have like a warehouse like headquarters out in East Syracuse.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. That's
so we used to rent space from them, and like we would make our dough there, cook our bacon, make salt potatoes. Like you have to have a commercial kitchen that you work out of.
Right.
So I wanted my own space. I wanted to have, we were operating 2 trucks at that point. Like we had gotten our second trailer.
How many do you have right now?
We have 3 now.
3, okay.
We have 2 trailers and a food truck.
Nice.
So we wanted our own space. We wanted to be able to
kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to drive by this place, and I would be like, I would see it was open for lunch one day, and then it was closed at dinner, and then it wasn't open one day, and then it was open at dinner but closed at lunch. And I'm like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
So I had a guy that I met doing food truck events who was like a consultant for restaurants, and I called him, and I was like, Mark, you know anything about this location? He's like, let me make a call. He called, got in touch with the landlord, and then he was like, do you want it?
Who was Mark? Mark Cordone?
Cordone, yeah. Yep.
He's a friend of mine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a great guy.
So I met him at a farmer's market like years ago.
Whoa.
And he gave me his card. He was like, if you're ever looking to get into the restaurant business, let me know.
That's
if you're ever looking to get into brick and mortar business, let me know.
I'll tell you, there's nobody better than him and his
Good
brokers.
dude.
They're great people there.
So he ended up getting in touch with the landlord. We set up a meeting, came here, looked at the space, and then all of a sudden I had a restaurant.
Yeah, well, you know what's, I don't know if Anna ever told you, but this was always like iconically like always a Chinese restaurant and a pizza place.
Yep.
And nothing would last for a year.
Yeah.
Everything was just like, it would open up and then you would drive by and you're like, that wasn't the name of the pizza place before.
It was a Hawaiian barbecue place, and it was it was crazy.
Well, this is like the first time something's really like taken off in this space.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's a good spot.
Yeah, I do too.
Kudos to you to open it up too, like right across from tough competition.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the biggest thing when we opened. That everyone's like, "How are you opening up across from them?" And I was like, "It's a completely different style of pizza.
Yeah,
like, this
different.
is the person who's going to get my pizza and going to get their pizza are completely different people.
Yeah,
and there's not to say there's not crossover, because there is. There's
Yeah.
people who just love pizza and they're like, "Yeah, I'll eat any kind of pizza."
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
I'm one of those
like
people
I'm like,
too.
give me give me most kinds of
if
pizza.
it has bread,
and
sauce,
I'll eat
and
it.
cheese, I'm gonna eat it.
So, I got a lot of that when I started, and I was like, all right, like calm down, like it's.
Well, I feel like whenever you do something big like that, people, that's the first thing people want to say is they just want to kind of give you all the, oh, well, Nick, this could fail because this, or even when I got into real estate, people were like, oh, that's a really tricky business, you could fail. So everybody's like that. Yeah, that's just.
And I understand. Don't read the Syracuse.com comments. I've come to realize that over the years. So there was an article put out that said wood-fired pizza truck to open brick and mortar in North Syracuse. There had to be 100 comments that were like, they're going to close in a month being across the street from these people. they're gonna do this. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right,
relax.
Yeah. So that was a little disheartening, to say the least. But whatever, we proved them wrong. So
yeah, that's cool.
It's all good.
It worked out because because this restaurant was cut in half, so you guys got the whole space.
Yeah, so we have the whole space now. We used to only have one side. We didn't really have seating. It was mostly a takeout, and it was a production kitchen for the food trucks. So we were able to do next door very cheaply. Like, we came in, and all I really had to do was paint and put in a wood fire oven. Like, everything else was here.
Okay.
So the restaurant came with a walk-in cooler, a dough mixer, a gas oven that's used for like New York style pizza and all that stuff.
Right.
The landlord owns all that, so he said, this is all yours with the lease. I was like, okay, cool.
So you leased the place?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we did that, and then this other side became available, and we were like, well, I mean, I think a dining room is like a dining room with craft beer is like the next logical step, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can become a place that people go and have dinner at, or lunch and dinner at, and that was kind of how.
And it kind of just clicked from there.
Yeah, that's how it all kind of
cool.
came apart. This was a much bigger endeavor than next door was.
Yeah.
Because we had to remodel everything and flooring and tables and chairs and booths.
You had to figure everything out and plan everything.
Yeah, so it was a lot more involved.
Yeah. And what kind of like everyday prep? Because I know you have to like get in here, you have to get everything situated. Yeah. And I don't come from a food world, so I don't know what that looks like. So what's a normal day?
Yeah. So I mean, every day is things like making dough. We have like a fermentation process with the dough where from the day you make the dough to the time you're using it is generally 72 hours. So like you make the dough, it cold ferments, you ball and roll the dough, and then it goes back in the fridge to rest, and then you use it usually the next day.
Gotcha. So you make all your dough homemade then?
Yeah, we make everything.
Cool.
Yeah, we make everything here. Pizza sauce, toppings like bacon and chicken and spinach and sausage and all these things. And we've always kind of done it that way, so nobody really knows that they could buy those.
Yeah,
right. We could buy those items and not have to spend all that time prepping it. But it makes a better product.
Quality.
Makes a better quality pizza that people notice the difference. They notice when you're using real mushrooms and not buying canned mushrooms, and they notice when you're cooking bacon and not buying pre-cooked crumble bacon that everybody else is using.
Because it does. It has a totally different taste to it.
So we take the time, we put in that effort, and I think that it goes a long way. That you taste it in the product.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's like what everybody says about this place is that the quality on the pizzas are excellent. How do you come up with all those ideas for the pizzas? Because you have you do seasonal pizzas, and then you have that salt potato pizza, which is phenomenal.
Thank you.
What other ones? You have like the chicken and waffle.
Yeah, pizza? I mean we have so many kinds. Basically, I have like the thought process that like anything can go on pizza. Yeah. That like there's nothing that like you could make any kind of sandwich basically, right? You can make any kind of pizza. Yeah. Right? So we do, we try to be unique. Like you're gonna get pizzas here that you literally are not gonna get anywhere else. Yeah. Like you're gonna see pizzas here that you're never gonna see at other places.
Nobody has a salt potato pizza.
No, we're the only, as far as I know, and we're at least the original one, and there might be some other ones now. But we came up with the salt potato pizza now almost 5 years ago, and that was that's like our signature item. That's what people think of Toss and Fire. They think of salt potato pizza. When they think of salt potato pizza, they think of Toss and Fire. So.
Yeah. And how do you come up with those ideas? Is it just try stuff out. And who's the guinea pig? Is your wife
all
and you?
Us. Oh, everybody. Yeah. Originally it was usually it was just me at my house making them, and my wife, or we'd have some friends over. We used to have pizza nights, and I would make, like I said, I made those pizzas on the grill top thing. Yeah. And so I was testing out dough. We created the Cheeky Monkey pizza back then because I bought Cheeky Monkey sauce to try at home, and I loved it. And I was like, this needs to go on pizza.
It makes sense.
So we a lot of the original creations, our big three of the original pies were the Cheeky Monkey, the Salt Potato, and the Fig and Pig, and those are the three that we came up with in my kitchen at home.
Wow, that's cool.
Before we had opened the truck.
Wow.
And then as the years, we tried new things, and for the fair last year, we did the Fair 5, and came up with 5 pies we had never made before, and
is that something you're gonna do every year?
That's the plan, man. It was really successful, and I want people to be able to get something unique and fun at the fair, and
Yeah.
they go to the fair for that kind of stuff.
Production's got to ramp up around here too, around the fair season.
It gets pretty crazy. I mean, the whole summer's kind of crazy. Because,
That's what I was gonna ask. If you have like a crazy season.
Yeah. So because we're doing like weddings and graduations and concerts and all kinds of different things, so we're from like May until the fair ends is just like madness, and nobody knows what we're doing. We don't never know what we're doing. We're going crazy. But
do you have like standards for how much in a day you need dough produced? Or?
It just depends. So for the restaurant, we have our numbers that we know. Okay, we need to make this much for during the week, and then this much for the weekend. And it's relatively easy here to do it because it's such a smaller scale than trying to do this plus multiple trucks.
Right.
And like some of the events we do trucks with are like, okay, we need to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dough balls for this one day.
And it's tough too because you don't know, like you don't know what the turnout's gonna
be.
be.
So for now, because we've been doing it for a couple of years, I can book an event and I can give you a range of what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because I know I get as many of the factors as possible, and then I look at like the changing factors like weather and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
I'm pretty good at it now. I mean, I get surprises like. I'll send a crew to an event and be like, yeah, it should be about 100 pizzas. And they're like, Nick, we sold 200 pizzas. And I'm like, oh crap.
Oh, man.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, right.
But, like, they weren't stocked for that because we'll stock the trucks for what we think we're going to do within reason, plus then some extra.
Yeah. And what's, like, the big difference when you're doing a food truck versus running the restaurant? Is it just... Obviously, smaller quarters, smaller menu.
Yep. So limited menu. We usually have no more than like 8 to 10 pizza options, and then it's just tiny. It's a tiny area, right? So because we started that way, I think that it's easy for us to we know how to do it now. We know how many people it takes. We know how much setup time and breakdown time and cleanup time and all the things that are kind of involved in it. So. As we do it, we get better and learn and change things and fix things and all that kind of stuff. So
in the restaurant, you have to get here early to warm up the stove, right? So what do you do for the food truck when you get to an event? Do you have to get there like an hour and a half early?
We'll usually preheat it here, or we'll preheat it wherever we're like prepping the truck. We'll be usually prepping the truck here, so that we can show up and maybe need 30, 45 minutes to finish preheating it. Yeah. Sometimes we get to events a couple hours before, and then we'll do the whole preheat process there. Yeah. It just depends what we're doing. Like at the fair, obviously the truck's parked there, so we just do it every morning. But because we're using it every day, it only needs about 45 minutes, so it's not too bad.
Man, I couldn't imagine like trying to plan all this stuff and figure it out at first. So it was all this like really trial and error.
It was, yeah. I mean, it's still trial and error. It's we definitely have our things that we've learned and we know that they work and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of planning and prep work that goes into, especially a food truck thing, because you're mobile. Yeah. You're basically resetting up a kitchen every time you go somewhere, right? So like. You can't have hanging ladles and things like that because they'll fall when you're in transit.
Yeah, right.
So you have to have things in containers, and then you have to take those things out and set up a line, and
gotcha.
You have to strap everything down because they'll fall over.
Yeah, right.
I've had that happen.
I was just thinking also preheating an oven and then driving with a hot oven.
It's not that bad. They're really well insulated, so you don't even
because you want to keep all that heat in as much as possible.
Yeah, you don't even feel anything. Like when you're in the food truck, you don't even feel, because literally the oven is behind the seat. There's a wall there, but it's behind the wall that's behind the seat, and you don't even feel any heat from it. Like when it's cold outside, it's freezing in that truck.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, because it's a wood fire pizza, do you have a select type of wood? Because I
know
there's
mixed hardwoods.
Okay.
So they basically have to be seasoned hardwoods. It's not like when you're doing barbecue and stuff, you're cooking at a lower temperature, so you're getting a lot of that wood flavor in your product.
Yeah.
Where pizza, because you're cooking at such a higher temperature, cooking at 1,000 degrees, it's a 90-second bake time. You're getting a little bit of the smokiness from the wood, and the char and stuff from the wood, but you're not getting you're not gonna taste it and taste wood. Literally, if you eat barbecue,
you could taste it.
You can taste if it's hickory or if it's different stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a pellet grill, and it has the different kinds of the pellets. You get a hickory or apple wood or whatever. Yeah. So I was interested. I was trying to think of what kind of wood. Where do you get the wood from? Do you have a?
Yeah, we have a guy who he cuts it for us, and then he stores it. and dries it out and then delivers it to us and stacks it. So we've got
Wow.
a pretty good deal with it because we used to cut our own. We used to split our own wood. Used to stack our own wood.
Where were you getting all the wood
from? Just different wood supplier, firewood suppliers. Yeah.
Oh my
And then
God.
like we would get stuff and we'd be like, okay, you know, we need it to be whatever size. We need them to be like this size, right? And they'd be like, all right, yeah, no problem. And then they would drop it off, and it would be like huge. And I'm like, well, I have to split that now, which defeats the purpose of me telling you I need a certain size. I had a splitter. I bought a splitter for a couple $100, and it still took forever though. Literally, we would spend hours and hours splitting wood. Like it was just nuts.
Splitting more wood than cooking pizzas.
Yeah. It just So at some point, like the prep can only be so much. Like we have to figure out a better way to do it. So we finally found somebody who got it to the right size and will deliver it and stack it for us. So we used to get big piles dropped off, and then we're spending hours stacking wood.
Yeah.
And like these guys, like they literally do this. So they're like, okay, they would fill up a wheelbarrow, boom, stack it. They'd be done in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it would take my guys 5 hours to do this.
Right.
Like, but they're guys who literally are dealing
This
with
is what they do all
the
day.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. They got a system down for it. So was it just you that like started this business, or did you have a business partner to venture with?
No, so it was just me. I started it.
Wow, that's so cool.
I basically started an LLC. I applied for a business credit card, used that business credit card to buy a trailer.
Yeah.
And hoped that I didn't go broke. Like it was pretty much it. I had no funds to do it. Like I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like.
Well, I think a lot of local businesses are like that, right? When they start out, it's like they don't really have much, and they kind of just have an idea in their head, and they're like, God, I'm gonna roll the dice and hope it works out.
Yeah, I mean, it was so anyone you talk to will tell you never to do it that way. Like, don't get a credit card and put your business on a credit card because I got 0% interest for like 6 months or something, and then at that point you're paying whatever you're paying 15-17%.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna see what happens, and luckily by the following year we were able to pay the truck off, and it was the truck I got, the trailer that I got originally was like one of the cheaper models that we could get. Like it was, it's great and I love it. So
how did you find one for sale?
They're for sale all over the country.
Where did you buy this one?
Out of Texas. This company called Redstone Ovens.
Holy cow.
So they like designed it and fabricated it and put the oven on it, and then so we helped them like design how we wanted it.
Yeah. And
then shipped it to us. Actually on this like flatbed, like 18-wheeler. Yeah. And they met me over at the Panera parking lot over here.
As you
I'm
were
still
working
there.
Yeah.
They lowered the trailer. I never towed a trailer in my life.
Oh my goodness.
So I had a neighbor, a friend of mine, TJ, who has towed like RVs forever, and like he works for UPS.
He's used to it.
And he's used to these big things in towing. He went with me, and he was like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to tow this trailer.
Oh my God.
And he sat in the passenger seat, and I drove like shaking and like
I'm shaking just you telling me.
It was literally, I'm in Brewerton. It was a 9-minute ride back to my house.
Yeah.
But like I had never done it before, and I'm like, I'm starting this business. I've never towed. I don't know. Like I had a pizza experience from when I was a kid. I worked in a pizza shop. It was my first job, but I never worked with a wood fire oven.
Wow.
Yeah. So everything was like a learning experience. Everything was I'm gonna.
How did you learn how to
research this? And I'm gonna just
research it.
We researched it, and then we did it, and then I trained people who had never done it.
Oh my God, that's
not
crazy.
Having done it myself.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of trial and error.
Wow, that's so ballsy. That's so cool.
It was,
That's like you.
It didn't feel like it was at the time. I mean, it felt like I was nervous and all that kind of stuff. But like, it was a small investment for what we were starting. Yeah. We just never kind of saw. Like, I never was like, okay, in 5 years,
I can't wait to open a restaurant.
We're gonna have a restaurant and 3 trucks and be doing 40 weddings in a year. Like, it's just I never even
40 weddings.
It's just it's insane. Yeah.
What's the biggest event you've done? Like you do corporate gigs too, right?
We do pretty much anything that you would hire a food truck for. So it just depends. Like we've done concerts where there's thousands of people, and
that's gotta be cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Because
at
a concert, I feel like you'd be able to listen to something you like. I don't know.
Yeah, no, a lot of times. Like. Yeah. Well, there's both sides of that. But we do. we teamed up with Beacon Skiff last year, and they do concerts there. And I literally reached out because I like ex-ambassadors, and I wanted to see them, and they were playing at Beacon Skiff. So I was like, I'm going to see if I can get my food truck into this. So I emailed them, and I was like, hey, I'd love to do this event. And they ended up getting back to me. They invited us to go there, and I got to, the truck was here, and the stage was, maybe right outside where the wall is, basically. So cool. It was so cool, and it was an awesome show. They're a smaller venue. They fit 3,000 or something, or 3,500 people.
Oh wow!
Where a place like the amphitheater fits 20,000 people. So it's just a lot of fun.
How many people do you have usually working in the food truck? I feel like there's got to be a certain
so it varies, right? So we'll do 3 is the sweet number if we're doing a normal size event, and we'll go all the way up to 6. But what we'll do with the 6 is we usually will set up our cashier out front.
Yeah.
So that they're out of the way, and we can just use the truck as a kitchen.
Yeah.
Kind of do our thing. So
because with a food truck, it's such limited square footage, so there's got to be a give and take to how many people.
Yeah, it's all kind of limited. All of the trailers and the truck is all kind of limited space. But we've kind of figured out how to utilize it, and I tell people that we don't move around. We just pivot. We just kind of if I'm making pizza, make the pizza, and I don't even I just put the pizza in. I don't
you don't
really
have to walk.
move from my spot. I mean, maybe it's one step.
Yeah.
So it's everybody kind of knows this is where you stand, so you're not getting hit and elbowed all day, and and we still get hit and elbowed all day, but
right.
It's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah, or just because it's such a small space, you're still dealing with people shoulder to shoulder, trying to figure out space. So that must have been that had a big effect in planning the food truck, how you wanted it laid out and everything.
Yeah, so the food truck that we brought a food truck, an actual food truck last year, right? So it was the first season we had it. So I laid that food truck out knowing that I had been doing these events in a trailer, the enclosed trailer is a smaller version of that. And I was like, well, this doesn't work for certain things. So how can I fix that? So we designed it in hopes to kind of fix that, which I think it did. It's much bigger than what we're used to working in, so it's still, even though it's tight, it's a tight area, it's still a lot of space for us, kind of thing.
Yeah. Still bigger than do you have a certain trailer that's bigger than the other, or
so the food truck is the biggest
one. Is the biggest one.
Yeah, and then we have an enclosed trailer. It's kind of the smallest space to work with because our original trailer we set up a tent in front of it, so you get a whole 10 by 10 tent. Oh. So that's a ton of space.
Yeah.
Compared to the inside of a truck.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, so we use that one for mostly catering. The little one is for mostly catering, as we'll set up a buffet table, and they get to see the whole kind of process happening.
Oh, right in front of
that
them.
Stuff. Yep.
Oh, that's cool. That's sweet. And then you were telling me earlier, there's something going on in Syracuse with a food truck, right? Did you say you're the president of the Food Truck Association?
Yep. So I'm the president of the Syracuse Food Truck Association. I actually started the Food Truck Association before I even had a food truck. So a group of trucks who had been in business for a year or two in Syracuse were kind of running into issues with dealing with the city, right? So the city years ago it was $1,500, you got one spot, and that was your spot. You couldn't move. There was, it was just awful. It was a joke. Right, yeah. So no trucks were doing this.
They would put you in a certain corner.
Yeah, they basically would give you a crappy spot and then tell you it was worth $1,500, which it never was.
And that's for the permit?
Yeah, so that was for the permit.
Is it a one-day permit?
It's a one-year permit, yeah, or one season or whatever. Right, so you would pay $1,500, you would get these spots, and then trucks would go to these spots, and people would park in the spaces. Even though at the time they actually had them labeled that this is food truck parking, you can be towed, from this time to this time. They would go there, people would be in their spaces, they would go there, and it just didn't work. It was, the spot ends up not being good. You can't move, and you already paid $1,500 for the year, and you're done.
Yeah.
So last year, Councilor Michael Green said, these laws need to be changed. This is ridiculous. $1,500 is not enough for a spot. You should be able to move to any of the designated spaces, right? To see what works for you. And so they did. They changed the laws. They made it $1,500 to $500, which is a much better price.
Did they have you come in and to help them figure out those rules?
Yeah, so our group actually sat down with the counselor and some members from the Syracuse city government and gave our feedback. This is what they in the past they had one food truck by a permit. One food truck in the entire Syracuse market. There's 50 plus food trucks in this area.
So how? That's so crazy to me.
Because they were they weren't saying, "Hey, we're anti-food truck," but they weren't doing anything to help.
To help promote
They were
it.
basically like, they would just like stay back,
Yeah.
right? So it was a good thing, right? They changed the laws. They said we're going to give you blocks instead of spaces, so you can park at this block and this block and this block. We ran into the exact same issue though. It's not policed. There's no signage. So like I can buy a $500 permit, and then
But somebody Joe Schmo's parked in
I
the
can't
spot.
go park there
Yeah.
unless I'm going to get there at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm going to hold
that's
my
not
spot,
happening.
which is not. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense for a business to have to do that.
Yeah.
So, a whole issue happened though. There was a whole separate thing from this. The Food Truck Association rents Water Street on Clinton Square, and we put together a food truck rodeo. We had 6 trucks there. We closed down Water Street and put these trucks there, and it was a huge success. It was great. People loved it. We were getting hundreds of people down there every week. They were loving that there were different options, and people who like wouldn't buy lunch normally were going to the food trucks. They were brown baggers. They were meeting family or friends that work downtown to go to the food truck rodeo.
And how many days a week was it?
One Wednesday for 21 weeks a year, 21 weeks a year. So once a week for the summer, basically. What ended up happening is the Downtown Committee of Syracuse and some local area restaurants started to like complain and pressure the city and say that the food truck rodeo was killing their business. So somehow 4 hours a week for 21 days was destroying brick and mortar locations businesses.
Interesting.
Which, I own a brick and mortar.
21 weeks.
Yeah.
One day a week.
4 hours a day.
For 4 hours.
Or 3 hours. Is it 3 hours? I think it's 3. It was 3 hours.
3 hours?
So it's 60 hours a year, right?
Yeah.
So was destroying their business, and that it needed to be stopped or reduced or something, right? So we reapplied for our permit, went through the whole process. We wrote a check to the city of Syracuse for $5,000, which is what shuts down the street for 21 weeks. Like, it's super expensive.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and do all these food trucks like pool their money together, or is it toss and fire?
So no. It's the food trucks that are in our group that are paying for it through their dues, and then they pay. We basically charge the trucks to be there like $50 when they come, and then that pays for it each week. We use some of it for advertising and some for the permit.
That seems like pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem outrageous.
So we put the money out first to do it because we had to pay for it for the whole entire year.
Yeah.
So that's fine. That's what we did last year. We did it this year. We get a call that says, "Nick, we'd like to talk to you about the food truck laws in Syracuse and how we can improve them." So we go down, we sit down, and
how many people is it? So it's you and how many other people?
We have 24 members.
Was all 24 members there?
No, so it was the board members. So there was like 5 or 6 of us.
Oh, okay.
So we sat down with them, and they said, "We want to cut the frequency of Clinton Square." And we were like, "Why? What's the difference between our event? We're renting a street. We're not. This has nothing to do with the food truck laws.
Yeah.
We're renting a street and putting on an event the same way Taste of Syracuse, the same way the Downtown Committee, who's opposing it, does a farmer's market, which has food trucks I'm one of them. On Tuesdays.
That's weird.
They're opposing our event on Wednesdays, but their event with 4 to 6 food vendors is not a problem.
Huh.
Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, and like I said that to him, I was like, what makes our event any different from these events? Why do the food truck laws, affect this, and they don't affect anything else?
Yeah.
They don't affect the Taste of Syracuse. They don't affect the farmers market. They don't affect the blues festival. I mean, there's literally a festival every weekend, basically.
Yeah, especially in the summertime. Yeah. There's always something going on there.
Which is a great thing. It's a great thing for the city. It's not like these aren't bad things.
Yeah.
But they're looking at it as business killer. This food truck rodeo on a Wednesday afternoon is a business killer, but a farmer's market on Tuesday afternoon with food trucks,
that's
no
cool.
problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, to be honest, it's a little hypocritical.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said to the guy.
Wow.
Like, it's a little hypocritical.
Yeah. Well, because you were also there on you said the farmer's market on Tuesdays?
I do the farmer's market.
So you
and I do
4
the
other
same
trucks.
business on Tuesday that I do on Wednesday.
Yeah, right.
So, like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, I understand the city's got to listen to their brick and mortar locations, right? They need to, but at the same time, like, we're paying for a permit.
Right.
We're getting a food truck permit, so that's $500 a year. We're paying to close the street down. It's $5,000 a year. so all these trucks, if you take our 24 members, the city's getting $15,000+ from us to put on this event. And, it's apparently not enough to, it's just a frustrating thing. We've, the conversations are continuing. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Oh, that was going to be my next question. Is it resolved or?
So it's not resolved. The event's supposed to start in 2.5 months. So as of now, it's completely up in the air. And
it might not even happen?
I think that it's going to happen. I think that there's going to be some kind of compromise. And, we're probably going to have to cut down weeks. And it's,
It's kind of a bummer because it's
a
food truck festivals is supposed to be, it's fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
And for a business sake, I don't know, I kind of look at it in a position, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Why not start a food truck?
And a lot of them do. So 3 of our members have mobile units, and they're right next to where the food truck rodeo is. 3 of them are brick and mortar locations within 2 blocks of where the food truck rodeo is. Dinosaur Barbecue, Glazed and Confused, Biblos, all have mobile units.
And they're all downtown, too.
And they're all right next to this event.
Yeah.
I know multiple business owners in the area who love the event and say it doesn't affect them. If it does affect them, it affects them positively.
But it's once a week.
Yeah.
During lunchtime.
Yep.
Which, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't come from a restaurant world, so I don't think lunch is your busiest time of the day. It's usually dinner.
Yeah, downtown might be. It might be busy. I don't have a downtown business, so I couldn't tell you. The thing is that I feel that we should all be able to coexist, and I feel that bringing people downtown is good for everybody.
Yeah.
It's good for the brick and mortars, whether it's good for them right when we're there, or it's good for them later that night, or the next day, or the next week, or I didn't know this shop was here, we gotta come back here,
right?
It's all benefiting downtown. It should be that the downtown committee, the city of Syracuse, and the Food Truck Association work together to put on a great event and make sure people know about it, and then they support that and they support the downtown business.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that it's like this fight,
head to head, brick and mortar versus food truck places.
For sure, it's just unnecessary.
Do you guys have is there a food truck event where it's just a weekend of all these different food trucks, 50 different food trucks in a weekend?
So this year we're putting on an event called Food Truck Wars. So we teamed up with Rochester. Rochester's got their own food truck organization, similar to the Syracuse Food Truck Association.
Did you started the Food Truck Association?
So I'm one of the founders. Yep. Yes.
That is crazy. Who just ups and starts something like that?
So
cool.
Honestly, it was we started the group to get a food truck rodeo in Clinton Square.
Oh, okay. So
we sat down and we said, hey, these laws aren't working. We want there to be a food truck rodeo. 2, we want to make these laws better for all the food trucks.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make Syracuse a food truck friendly city, not an anti-food truck city.
Yeah.
So we started to kind of band together. That was the whole idea, right? So if all these trucks are banding together, 24 trucks are stronger than 1 truck.
Yeah.
Right? So 1 truck saying, these laws are awful, we need to fix these, they're not going to care.
Right.
24 trucks saying that these laws are awful, we need to fix them, they might reconsider it. Right? So we've always kind of looked at it as we're better in numbers than we are by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's weird. When you go to a different city, there could be when my wife and I, we went to New Orleans, and there's food trucks all over the place. Everywhere there's food trucks. And it didn't seem like there was any rhyme or reason. It was just chaos. It was just everybody was everywhere.
Yeah.
There's no designated spots.
So it's different everywhere you go. This problem is definitely not new. It's not just in Syracuse. It happens everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've read articles about it happening in New Jersey and Massachusetts, and it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
It's how the city handles it and how they can make it right for both sides, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, people don't like competition. That's what it comes.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Right.
So if your business isn't doing great or it's doing okay, and then you have a new competitor open up, you might be a little more bitter about it,
mm-hmm.
right? I just think that people need to be able to work together and to coexist.
Yeah.
There's no reason that nobody's stopping me from opening up from across the street from a pizza shop, right?
Yeah.
But they'll stop me from setting up my truck 1,000 feet from one. It just
Yeah.
doesn't. It just doesn't make sense.
So going
For
back
3
to that,
hours.
yeah, right,
You
right,
know.
right. So going back to the you said it was a fruit truck battle.
Yeah, so we're doing
Again?
Food Truck Wars is coming to the Great New York State Fair. So the Food Truck Association, part of our mission is advocating for food trucks, teaching the public, what's involved in being in a food truck. Like people have like this mentality that food trucks are dirty and they don't get health inspections and all these kind of things.
But it's just like a restaurant.
Like we get probably 10 times as many health inspections on our food truck than we do in a brick and mortar location.
And how does that work? Do they just pop in randomly when you're doing it?
Yeah, a lot of times like at festivals, like a lot of times public events, you're guaranteed to see a health inspector.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, no problem.
Happens,
I mean, it's
yeah.
great. It's great that they're checking. It's
Yeah.
great that
Keeps
But
quality up.
it's always funny to me that people are like, oh, food trucks don't get inspections, and I'm like, I mean, they do,
Yeah,
and
they
a lot more than probably your favorite brick and mortar does.
Yeah, right.
So
So the rodeo. Sorry, I keep
Yep, so-
sidetracking you.
anyway, that's one of our things. But another one of our things is that we put events together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we put together the Clinton Square Food Truck Rally. We put together little smaller food truck rallies, and we partner with like breweries and all these different things. So we, in the past couple of years, have done a big food truck festival in September every year. So last year we brought it to the fair. We rented a street next to Chevy Court and a building where we put craft vendors, and we had live music, and it was a smaller version of kind of what we're doing this spring, right? We just used Syracuse trucks, and we had about 20 trucks. We said we want to grow this. We want to take this event and do a spring version. But it's spring, and everybody in the spring really wants to get out to these food trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So let's team up with food trucks from another area and put together like a food truck fight, So
Rochester?
So we
Coming
teamed
in?
up with Rochester. They have a group called Rochester Best Trucks, or Best Food Trucks. We teamed up with them, and we're kind of putting on a larger scale version of what we did in the fall. So in the fall, we teamed up with the food bank. We were able to cut them a check for $3,500 after the event was over for a donation.
Wow.
We're teaming up with 3 charities this time: the food bank again, Clear Path for Veterans, and Helping Hounds.
All great organizations.
Yes, so all great local organizations. So we're doing that. We're gonna have live music, but on Chevy Court stage this time.
Whoa.
So we got Mike Powell headlining, all local bands. So Mike Powell and Jess Novak, Just Joe, and My So-Called Band are all playing on Chevy Court all day. We're doing we're gonna have like local celebrity judges that
That's
are
so
gonna
cool.
like judge it, and then there's gonna be a people's choice and a judge's choice. So so not only is it a place to go and try a bunch of food trucks, but it's gonna be a little competition too, right?
Nice.
So we're gonna have like trophies for the winners.
That's
and,
awesome.
But there's all kinds of things, man. There's gonna be like between 75 and 100 craft vendors.
Wow.
There's gonna be Jeff the Magic Man there. There's gonna be character. I can't even say it. Caricatures.
I always feel like I'm stuttering when I say that. Caricatures.
There's gonna be like a photo booth. There's gonna be like cornhole and different like competitions.
This sounds
and,
really
like,
fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're gonna have that whole area too. So all Chevy Court and
When
the
is that?
Science Saturday, May 30th from 11 to 8. Yep. So yeah, there's just gonna be a ton going on, and we found this like perfect weekend. It's in between Memorial Day and Taste of Syracuse, and we were like,
nice.
That's a perfect time for a food truck festival. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
right.
So there'll be low cost samples from everybody. So everybody's going to have a $3 to $5 sample.
Is that what you ask of people when they sign up?
Yeah.
Like,
So
hey,
basically,
we wanna...
yeah, because people want to go and they want to try multiple trucks, right? So if
that's how the Taste of Syracuse is.
If everything at every truck is $10, it makes it kind
Yeah.
of hard to try multiple trucks unless you're with a huge group and you're all sharing
Right.
and whatnot. So we're requiring a $3 to $5 sample. Taste Syracuse does dollar samples, which is really rough as a vendor to try to do dollar samples.
Yeah.
That's why we don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare.
Well, the low
Yeah.
cost too. Just have it,
Yeah.
even a $3 or $5
Yeah.
way better. Because at least with $5, I feel like when I go to an event like that, I'm taking $20 with me.
Yeah.
And if the $20 runs out, then I'm like, I'm done. At least if it's
Yeah.
$5, I'm like 4 places right off the bat I can try.
Done. Right? Then you can vote for your favorite.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then there's cool stuff too. There's going to be like a kids zone with bounce houses, and there's just going to be tons of stuff all day. Craft beer.
And you put this on with a few other people?
Yeah,
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, we have a group. We actually have an event committee in the group where it's I it's probably about 8 to 10 of the food truck owners, and then we take a list of everything we're doing and we kind of split it up, and everybody works on their perspective kind of things. It's a lot. The thing is that this is our off season, so like we're not like, I'm personally not as busy now as I am in the summer. In the summer, like I'm 100 hours a week going insane, but now I have time to say, okay,
to put this stuff together.
I'm going to spend 10 hours a week working on Food Truck Wars and planning and doing all that kind of stuff.
Wow. What I like about it is it's all about local. It's like you are just trying to drive nothing but Syracuse business. Sure. Like that's what it is at the core of everything.
Yeah. I mean, so it's obviously that supports me, right?
Yeah.
I'm a Syracuse area business.
Yeah.
But there's so many great partners that we have that are local businesses that like it would just be foolish not to promote that and promote that growth and try to work together and do things like this, things like Food Truck Wars and do, partner with local companies that are making awesome ingredients and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, Nick. I appreciate you doing this. This is really cool. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah.